All right, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Scoutcast. My name is Rolf Zuurt, and I'm your host. And I'm today, flanked or joined by two of my colleagues here in the studio, actually, for the first time in 24 podcasts.
We have a studio.
This is the Roasting Marshmallows studios for now. Yeah. How do you guys like the decor?
Pretty.
Yeah.
Missing nice pictures here and there, but
Yeah, we'll get to that. When people outside of the IT industry ask me what kind of work I do, I usually try to explain about software development and the types of client that I work for. And then they usually summarize it like this. So, do you sit at a computer all day? Can you maybe fix my laptop? It's so slow. So, the image that non-IT people often have about the IT crowd is a room full of guys in shorts and slippers drinking coffee and watching text fly by on terminals, 4, 5, 6 monitors at the same time, talking about the latest sci-fi shows. And, even with people growing up nowadays not knowing a world without the internet, the gap between technical and non-technical people seem to be as large as ever. On the work floor, these people need to collaborate actually to get the best product out there. So there is a little bit of a mismatch there still. So today we are roasting some marshmallows with Niels Talens, and he is, among other stuff, working on a blog series called Dear Non-IT People, where he explains seemingly complex IT-related concepts to people who are not so much in the know. For Niels, the most important thing is creating the best possible products and services. Whether it's agile portfolio management or continuous delivery, DevOps transitions or project management, he always looks for optimizing the whole. And Niels, you consider yourself a problem solver. So welcome to the show, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Now I heard I'm the 24th.
I think so, yeah. This is episode number 24, yeah. But we've also had some shows without guests, so you're not the 24th guest. I'm guessing number 16 or 17 or something.
No.
Yeah.
So does that make you feel sad that you're not the first one?
No, I feel evenly more important now.
Yeah, man. You're among a select few of elite people.
Yeah.
So I couldn't help but notice on your LinkedIn that you've studied at the Hans Hogeschool in Groningen, and I studied there as well. So what year did you study there?
That's too long ago.
Oh.
I'm 46 now, man. I don't remember. It was conservatorium. It was a while ago, but I didn't finish it.
Okay.
I was
But
I
conservatorium.
want to become a great guitarist.
Oh, guitar. Yeah, playing guitar at
Light.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had some problems there, or what?
No, I just didn't see myself becoming a music teacher or a guitar teacher. I wanted to become a rock star, And,
So you became like this famous recruiter called Rockstar Developer. So that's why you decided to jump.
yeah. I will call them. Yeah. No, it was not my destiny.
calling.
So I went and then I started working in factories and stuff just to make ends meet. And then after a while, I got in touch with someone who used the Atari for creating digital music with Cubase. It was still on a floppy disk.
Yeah.
And from there on, I started improving my skills with computers, buy and build computers, build them with the old big sound cards.
Yeah.
And from there, I did some graphical stuff, and most of us we roll into the industry.
So do you still play the guitar or not?
Yeah. Not often. It's on and on. Then I will play for a couple of weeks, record, and mainly jazz standards, and then record and try to improve. But after a while, I found out that I have the same creativity in IT as in music. It's about creating stuff. This is really interesting for me.
Yeah.
So if there's a lack of creativity in my job, I will tend to do more musical things and creating beats. I learned that stuff a couple of years ago a bit more. I have the drum pads here.
What, MPC or something else? Akai?
No, just the Akai thing.
Yeah. The MPK probably. Yeah, man.
Yes.
I know that stuff. Actually, yeah.
Because this was for me was magic. Like if you would look at Jay Dilla and stuff and how they program the samples, and I was just looking at the samples more as a musical thing, but it's more just like a rhythmic thing. So yeah, it's also studying there.
Okay, so very diverse what you're doing then, I suppose. Yeah. Because in your professional life, what is it that you're doing right now?
Well, now I'm at Interim. I'm a chief product owner for a startup, logistics startup, Simply Deliver, and I'm starting another kind of DevOps consultancy job again, just more
Okay.
coaching.
And what
Like it's
drove you to start writing like the Dear Non-IT People articles? What was
yeah,
the
I
goal?
guess all of us have seen transformations or big changes, right, from IT. And I always struggled with the idea, like 8 years ago, we had companies we were going to transform to DevOps,
Hmm.
and there was a lot of money involved. And I kind of like to look at IT and business like a garage. Like we have the shop. We need to have the tools need to be in order, and
Hmm.
you don't have to pay me for the tool. This is my stuff, right? This is my shop.
Yeah.
But then with DevOps transitions, without explanations, we could postpone stuff for business. Like, yeah, the next 6 months we will not be able to deliver stuff because we have to implement some stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen the same thing over and over again, and then people from outside IT, they often say like, yeah, well, we have to wait for this magical thing, because when the magical thing appears, life will be good.
Yeah.
But then and they're quite afraid to ask, what is this thing? And IT people won't explain it. The same thing is going on with Kubernetes or something, because from IT perspectives, we really need it.
Yeah.
But from a business perspective, that is the big question. If we would ask people like if this is really worth it, I don't think they will say yes.
Right, but this is not limited to like these new technical things either, right? Because
No.
like a lot of companies will also say like, well, wait till we reorganize all the teams and then everything will become crystal clear for everyone and it'll be
Yeah.
super clear about what you
Yeah.
guys will be need to do. Just wait until we do this or that. So I don't think it's
Yeah.
just the latest
No, but
technology.
No, but it's also a process. Like you said, it was this first agile transitions. Like, oh, we have to do everything on a different way, and everything
Hmm.
will become. We always promise that life will be better after this change. Then
Oh,
after
but that makes
agile,
sense, right? So, like, what is the reason
yeah, it
why you
makes sense.
think? What is the reason why you think then that those companies that you worked for, or like that those DevOps or agile transformation did not work? Have you ever seen one of them working?
No, but then you also think then it was finished or something. Like we do this DevOps transition and then it's done, and then I mean, this is also a farce.
Yeah, so
But
basically they never end, and they treat them as just being something they buy and then it's over, and then but like in your
yeah,
point of view, it should never finish it.
no, but the same thing is like the new promise then is like blockchain or now it's low code and no code. I mean, they reoccur, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think we have a like obligation to explain to people what it really is, because it will never solve all your problems, and maybe it's nothing like the stuff you really need
So, what?
from a business perspective.
So you said earlier that you're a chief product owner or something. Am I correct? Chief.
Yeah,
Yeah. So how do you do things
yeah,
differently now then? Because you've seen it fail everywhere. Like people talk about IT and well, buy DevOps for 6 months, and well, you're
yeah.
at the product right now.
Well, the thing is, it's pretty much a startup, so the whole challenge there is setting up stuff, starting with processes and writing proper acceptance criteria and having a proper flow, how we get ideas to production.
And is it
And
different
then
from a big
from there
company
on,
then? How is that different?
it should not be different.
Okay,
It,
but
it should not have to be different, but we don't have a really big change planned. We just pick up the stuff, the biggest bottleneck, and we solve it, and then we continue to the next one.
so you're saying big companies don't do that?
No, often they don't.
What is it that they do then? Just going through the motions?
No, I think they do something often that another company is doing, like without regarding what is the real benefit. Like if you guys, maybe you work at a company like insurance or pensions and stuff, and then a lot of focus is being brought to behave like a Spotify and a Netflix and an AWS, like because speed of delivery is the most important thing. But if you regard their whole structure and the whole, like even for banks, man, banks are not innovative. It's a bank. You don't have to deliver new features every day. People will, it's not really needed, but we can invest millions in infrastructure that only solves this, like this desire to deliver so this fast.
In the end, you do need to deliver as a bank. You need to be innovative. Because
Yeah.
in my mind, I think that's the problem with a bank. I want them to be more innovative because it annoys the crap out of me what they do. So, yeah, it's just waiting for a disruptor to actually kill them
Happen.
off somehow.
Yeah, and I think it's like I get a part of, let's say, not delivering features for the sake of delivering features, but then like how do you look at it from the point of view of like, yeah, all these new banks are showing up really quick with, let's say, full mobile, like everything online, and doesn't have to go to an agent. And I think they exist because banks are not, well, being innovative enough, I guess.
Yeah, but this is the cool thing, right? This is what I love. So there is room for newer, better banks who do
Yeah, but
stuff
that is the
fast.
argument that the banks nowadays need to be innovative as well. Otherwise, they will be disrupted. So the speed of
Yeah, but I don't really. I think this is so difficult for a company like that to become
Why is that, you think?
innovative.
Why do you think it's difficult for them?
Well, there are a couple of different banks here, right? Some are. It's just their behavior, just the structure, just their policies, how they are organized. There's a culture there often that is like limiting them.
You think
For
that
me, it's
culture
not
is
so important.
You think that culture is self-imposed though, because banks are, also subject to rules and regulations from, governments and other things. Like,
Yeah.
because so it's not fair, really, I think, to say like, they're big companies, big corporations, and it's their own fault, right? Or do you think is it their own fault that they're, doing the self-imposed cargo culture, copying others?
I don't really mind that they're not innovative. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I am a customer at myself. I am a customer at another type of bank who is quickly and innovative, but I don't think really I don't know if and we're talking about banks now, but we have different like insurance companies and stuff. It's this whole mess of legacy and decade-old culture. It's hard
But
to
let's say
change that.
if you guys are like a CPO, I think that's how it's called, right? Chief Product Officer. But then like, I just curious to understand how you see this. So they make you an offer to work for these big insurance companies, and they have all this legacy. You get to become in that position, and then the board basically say, "Hey, we have to innovate," and then your answer would be, "Wow, we do not need to. We should just be doing it."
No.
Because that's what I'm
No.
understanding how you say it.
Yeah, okay. It differs. Maybe in some cases you would say that. Yeah.
So you do actually advise them, do not innovate.
No, I'm just saying I don't care too much about really big companies maybe anymore
Right.
for a while. Right?
Yeah, because of this reason.
Yeah. And we did some stuff there. It was pretty cool, and we were pretty fast in some cases. And but in the whole structure, for me, it has not so much meaning anymore.
And then, okay, so then if you go to, let's say, smaller companies or startups, like how you are, the ones you are working now, like how do you organize the process that they can, let's say, innovate enough or learn quick enough in order to basically, well, survive? Or let's say, maybe you can elaborate how does it make sense for you in a smaller company?
The innovativeness. Well, it kind of depends on the product, I think. Like some products are really innovative, and some products are like, from which perspective is the business proposition really innovative, or is it like technically really innovative? This is a difference And this is maybe also one of the things why I start thinking about the Dear Non-IT people blogs. Like there's a big difference. Like we don't have I kind of have the feeling we always translate this to technical solutions.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think a bank should be innovative, but maybe this is the thing. They should be innovative in their products. And they should not necessarily have anything to do with how we fix that in the end.
Yeah. Okay. I understand.
And I think that this is the thing that we are doing. Like we're forgetting this majorly important part, and we always stand that we start at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, you see that at a lot of companies where where teams, they make like stories, user stories, but basically they're just making a story where they implement some sort of technical feature and that focus on the desired outcome. Is that is what you're saying?
Yeah, we often do not even know what the objectives are, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But for instance, what really hurts me is a company, the IT department decides to switch to something. Like, oh, we need other technical capabilities. We need to go to containers, or we want to have a monorepo, or some fat, because often they follow bigger companies, right?
Yeah.
And then the message to the business is, well, before we have this in place, you won't be able to add new features.
Yeah.
Like this is for me is the most annoying thing because we're still not there, right? This is my perception. Like the whole our basic products are not that good, and they're also not so exciting. Like really basic stuff. We're struggling with the basics still with basic stuff like
Could
forms.
you give an example?
Maybe, like did you recently move? One of you?
No, not recently. Not me.
Well,
He did though.
Yeah.
There was I moved 3 years ago and I had a really hard time changing my address in some systems. Like I just made screenshot after screenshot of stupid error. Like, and this is like CRUD stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's just the update of my, and still companies are not managing this. Really basic. It's this is the stuff you start building when you start programming. And we still have issues there. And then we talk about innovative stuff. I think, well, we have still a lot of stuff to do in most companies. And then we will not be able to solve this with any technique in the end.
No, I agree with you. And I think I started experiencing this as well. I started using those password managers, and then I create a password very big, very complex. And then work on the web, but then I go on a more mobile device, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I cannot log in, and then I realize it's because of special characters that it works on a browser, but doesn't work on a mobile device. And then I agree with you. Like Kubernetes is not going to solve your problem. Trunk-based development is not going to solve your problem. None of the technical, let's say, discussions ever going to solve this because this is basically just customer care, right? It's just like caring that at least you're delivering the right functionality for your customer. So I can understand what you mean by there is no point of innovating if we cannot even do the basic first. And looking from that point of view is pretty sad indeed.
Mm-hmm.
I tried changing my password at the Belastingdienst and I just quit. I just gave up. I really haven't. So you can already, you see, it annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And then with all this discussion about we delivering value to customers and we have to do it speedy and this is true. I believe in this stuff, right? It's not that I don't believe that you should be able to deliver fast, whether it's just to make sure that you're able to do it. But we have a tendency to go this way as IT, and because this is the struggle we have been having from the beginning, right? It's the product ownership is often the thing we blame, or this is the person we send away. Like, you have to do this.
Guys get the blame, like, oh, these dudes are developing way too slow, or it's full of bugs. These guys suck. We need to hire better developers.
But that's true. But
Well, this concludes our episode. Oh,
No, but I think there is I think the lack of at least my observation work with a lot of different customers. I think the lack of this quality on understanding, it's across everywhere, right? Let's say I agree with you, developers are too much focused on the shiny new thing, and then there is management focused on how to copy the process from this next big company. But at least I experienced quite a lot of product owners that are basically not product owners, never understood about product. They basically try to be what we call like the waiter's product owner, right? They get a requirement from some side and say, hey guys, you should build this. And then the discussion is totally like not understanding what the point of it is even there to be made.
Why they make it.
Why they make it, what is the use case or why they use it is relevant. And I think I think the sadness is across the whole, let's say, landscape. It's not only on the IT side, but I think it's also on the business side. If I don't think should have sides, but I think it's also like they are lacking understanding what they're actually delivering as a product.
Right,
because we're even talking as IT.
Because when you ask them like why we're building this, the answer usually is because the business wants it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you ask them who's the business?
Who's the business?
And then say, my stakeholders. And say, can I see this? Can I see your stakeholder map or your, a stakeholder map is also a thing that is it's a momentual. It's a snapshot of the moment because you have some goals, but then say, my stakeholder is she and the person there. This is really. But what do you guys think? Because I stopped having these discussions about product ownership, and I just started to also there write a lot of blogs like, this is a concept you could use to bring ideas to production, even write acceptance criteria, write user flows and stuff. So I try to help people, and for me it works kind of way. But after 10 years of these discussions, don't you think it's not like working out? If I ask anyone how many proper product owners did you ever meet,
One.
Often people say 3, 1. I mean, shouldn't we as a community, if we are like a DevOps, shouldn't we reconsider this thing? Instead of saying, we inspect and adapt, but this role that rarely is being fulfilled, but we keep it.
Sounds like you
Do
lost
you
the battle,
understand?
man. You're pretty demotivating.
But is it maybe because we
I think
put too much faith in one person? Maybe we should be more involved as developers as well in developing the product, and not just saying like, it's the product owner that needs to figure it out. It's not my problem. Like, is that fair to do?
100%, because we cannot sit here and, like I said, I was developing product owner trainings from the first Scrum projects because I thought this is not going to work. Of course, we should help this person, but it seems like we as a industry have more interest in the technical stuff than in the hard stuff. Like, because you remember like 15 years ago, people said, bridging the gap between business and IT. This is the hardest thing that there is, I think.
Yeah,
But I agree.
Yeah.
Keeping this role and.
But like that's the question, because I think I agree with you, and I mean that's what we try to do, right? And it's like that's why we coach companies and teams and everything. But I believe that the main issue related to that is that they exclude themselves of the team, right? They think they are business and then there is IT. I think until they think this is two separated words and that they are not trying to basically achieve the same outcome together, I think this is always going to be the case. I think it starts from, let's say, from the management or for the leadership, basically saying like, look, we are here to achieve one goal. We are all working as one, and your role is part of understanding better product. But until they do not make that distinction, I think it's never going to work. It's just like, I guess the same story with doctors and nurses, right? They're still there to help, but somehow they have clear distinction and they don't help each other to grow because they have different jobs.
But for instance, right, if we go to a company and say, well, there's this major, we want to have more speed, well, we know where to start, right? We look at versioning, and if people don't know, still you run into a lot of companies who have to learn. We will show people how it works. We will give a workshop. We will sit next to them, hands-on, do some stuff. Same for test automation. Have you ever seen people do that with product owners?
No.
Like not talk the talk, like yeah, product owner, you should and this and this and all. Then do you see people sit next to the product owner and say, because it's really, I think it's like they're like the strange duck in the team. So often I think they feel really insecure, especially if you have strong IT. But I've rarely see people helping product owners hands-on with stuff they need to do.
Maybe because they're not experienced people enough around to help them. Because it's one of these.
Yeah, but then, yeah.
You don't think so?
So I don't know, but then we're implementing this whole model, but we are not. This is a bad thing, I think.
And who should help out this product owner? Is it development, or is it also people from above maybe that needs to sit down with the product owner, or is it on a day-to-day basis with the entire team, or how do you see this in practice?
Well, there's a thing. If you are an agile team and then you say you deliver value, you have a responsibility with all of you to deliver this value. So it's up to all of us. Maybe and maybe you have to get outside help, but I would love to see more IT teams become better in assisting product owner.
Yeah, and like we've been, for example, pushing mob programming, where you sit down with the entire team, including the product owner, to like just sit at one screen, build features. But I've seen product owners excluding themselves from this practice. Like, well, I know about the concept, but it's just not for me. Yeah, they feel it's a waste of their time or something, which to me it just blows my mind, right? Because we're building.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That also depends.
It's the same thing with the domain-driven design. It's also like it's a brilliant thing, but I don't see the connection to the business. I think it's way too sounds maybe too technical, but I've seen the behavior also sometimes. But yeah.
But how do we convince a product owner then that this is useful? Can we convince them, or what should the conversation be?
I
think you can request more as a team, right? You should be able as a team to demand stuff from your product owner. Like we can, like a user story. What is it even, a user story? Like this is not enough for us. We need the user flows. You have to write acceptance criteria. Amen. And if you write them properly, we can automate. Often teams are also like a bit like, the product owner doesn't write proper user stories. Well, if we know how to write proper user stories, we should help this person write proper user stories.
I'm not sure if that's relevant, to be honest, because in the end, the user story is just a functionality, but it still doesn't say it's going to have a great outcome, yes or no, no matter how big the story is going to be. And that's the thing with product owners; they rather just push a lot of stuff down the team and then just fix those features and move on. Yeah. And you can push back.
This is also a disease.
Yeah. So I pushed back a few times, like, okay, why should we even do this? Like this functionality, and usually I don't even get a clear answer, which for me totally defeats the point to even talk about acceptance criteria, because if there's no value to the consumer, why even build it? And I think that's the part where product owners or product managers need the most help to actually understand that concept. But usually it's not really organizations, my experience don't really like that pushback, because then you go back to who decides what actually is going to be built, and that's probably somebody high up. Then they have to go through them. So they rather say no to me than to no to somebody up the chain.
Yeah, so basically the problem is they are actually not exercising the role of a product owner. They are basically a proxy to somebody else that basically don't fully understand product. And then that's where, let's say, the disease, if we like quote Niels, is actually, in my eyes, are like they are just basically proxying some wishes from stakeholders or from the business, and they don't really understand. Because I think this discussion about like when developers complain like they did not write a good user story. What I found fascinating is because in my eyes, it should not even be written anything. It should just be a title and a product owner basically explaining how a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
Then they get the context,
Give the
and
story.
then they let's find a solution for this problem. But now it's so like still in this idea of user story is just like a requirement that they want to implement without thinking. So I think this mismatch is like in every level. That I agree that I think the team should tackle that. But it goes back to the problem of like a lot of them, they were not even, let's say, they never had the experience of building a product.
Yeah.
So I think it's a hard problem to solve.
And I think it even goes further because most IT people are struggling with the job itself, like actually understanding IT, let alone think about that stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So
You need to learn so many tools nowadays.
So pushing back on the product owner, yeah, sure, but
And so you mentioned that you have had one decent or good product owner. Like, so this was a person who made these kinds of like.
Was it me?
Was it?
No, sorry, that was not
Was
you.
it me? You meant me,
You're
right?
not a product owner.
But what did this person do right then?
So for me, the perfect example was like what he did right. He never ever opened a Jira board to me and open a user story.
Okay,
He had a post-it and he said, "We need this done. This is the reason. This is the context. Figure it out."
Yeah, cool.
Like he never asked, "How long does it take? How much effort is it?" He just gave me a clear priority because of a deadline or a context, and he got out of the way. And we as a team, we discussed. We got like, look, if you want to get this done by that date, we need to do this first. If we have time, we increment. And every single time, that's what we did. We made decisions based on that deadline that was a total like make sense deadline. So just as an example was they hire a third-party company to use the API that we are providing, and it was for like a Sinterklaas, like times. So that means if the product was not live, nobody could actually buy product. So let's say it was not a fake deadline. So he never lied to us. He never made this idea that, let's put pressure on developers and make this fake deadline. So it was very true context, true business reasons, and he let us to figure out the problem. And every time we had a question, he was there to answer. So I think for me, this is like the perfect case. You know, you treat us as a team that can actually solve the problem. And I think that's how every product owner should be.
Yeah, but that's interesting, right? If you're talking about more programming, for example, if this guy went out of the way and let you guys, do it, he was not involved with the team as such then, apart from answering questions whenever you had them.
No, but for example, what I see why I think he was also good, like for example, this third-party company who was actually building this product, he was not proxying us. He put us in contact with them and figure it out.
Okay.
And of course, if we had any question or escalation, whatever, he would solve it. But mostly he was connecting us to the right people. So he was not being in between us, what I see a lot of the time, like developers never spoke to a customer because it goes through the product owner that talks to stakeholders and talk to the customer. So I think that's why I would judge him that the best product owner I ever worked with.
Yeah.
So that was not you, Niels. So you want to care to elaborate why you weren't the best product owner of Henrik?
Nonsense. But I have a question for you, Enrique. Like maybe this is also because I've seen the most high-end pipelines and stuff in companies who had the least amount of connection with business. Did you sometimes wonder, like for this person, right, this proper product owner who could give you objectives and deadlines? Because did you then always strive for the most simple solution, the most powerful thing for this person? Or did you start wondering about all the nifty techniques you've never used before?
So to be truly honest, I think it was a mix. When the deadlines, let's say, were big, we allowed ourselves more time to play with technology. So in the time we were like researching for like reactive technology, so we actually had time to pilot some things with like RX Java, Akka, and so it was like a bit of we had our time to do our research, but then we automatically we were checking ourselves okay, there was nobody forcing us to, you should stop it now, we should time box. That was something that we consciously decided we have done enough, now we need to move on, and because we knew that the deadline was real. And then
Yeah, but did you play around with the technique just to see if it fits the purpose?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So it was like what was the best fit
Yeah.
for us on that time with the team we had, with the contacts we had,
Yeah.
and with the time frame we had.
And did you go to that product owner for maybe a set of, how do you say, conditions? Like, okay, can you give us some metrics or something so that we know what we need to validate these ideas against?
We did not have to ask because the context was quite clear.
Clear enough.
Like the market is growing. We are expecting 25% more users in the upcoming 3 months.
Yeah.
And this is the numbers right now. So you should estimate at least it's going to double in a year.
Yeah.
So that was the numbers that he gave as a context for us. Otherwise, we should even build it in the first place.
Yeah. So we're talking a lot about product owners and stuff, but I'm guessing the issue or the problem is at all layers in the company, because I do also see developers, for example, pushing certain technology to a product owner, saying like, "Hey, we need to do this," and a lot of the times product owners may not have enough technical baggage to really say like, "Well, you should or should not do this." How do you view that? Like, should a product owner push back on development as well as development pushing back on the product owner?
No, but you see this. You all have been in these big companies, and you see the technology being used like half pieces of this in this framework. This is like resume building. People temporarily, people who want to use some kind of thing. This is really it's a really bad thing because we often found these like structures of mismatched technology. Like this product owner doesn't, he or she shouldn't have to care about technology. If this person could tell us the objectives, the whole thing is working if we can get some objectives, and if they're measurable, we are good to go. So we can find solutions. And if you cannot give this is what, especially when you said like this product owner, if this person gives you like a kind of metric or a desire, like I would like this to happen, this would be my perfect world.
Yeah, and I think
we won't think about other stuff then.
And I think the perfect word for every developer. I think in the end, every developer also wants that. They just want a very clear objective and like get out of the way, make it happen. I think every team would love that. The question is why it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard?
You know what is really hard? Like you used to know me and Hilke, we created a product, right? It was called Garrett. Our dream was like, it is so. We thought we solved every problem in the universe, but like we wanted just to validate the objectives against the outcomes. This is the perfect world, and this is the only thing you would give to a team. And I think then use DORA metrics to improve, and this would be really cool. And then I found out there was one conversation with a really big bank in Germany, and the guy said, "Oh man, I really love your idea, but it's not gonna happen, man, because people here, they are not going to speak out their expectations. I mean, their boss is gonna chew their head off." I'm like, oh, of course, yeah, this is really ignorant of me. And then, and then in the places where it is possible, then people say, yeah, I don't know. No, but you don't have to know. Just give us your desire. 40%? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, this is maybe people think they will be accountable for this desire, and partly it is. But the first one you will never know. It's like velocity. I don't know. It's the first sprint. You have no clue what is what, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same should be with some objectives, I guess.
So who do you think should bring? Is it something the product owner should bring, or how do you see this?
These objectives.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course, but he or she has to gather them. Like this is why you talk to stakeholders. Like this is I think this is maybe the crucial thing of product ownership, is determine these objectives, and you have to gathering them from the company strategy and from your users, and you gather them from data, but you need to have some tangible stuff we can create. We can measure, I mean.
I do think like because okay now we are, let's say, in a way bashing all the product owners we ever met. So you product owner that was my best product owner, if you are listening, you know who you are. Everybody else probably, that's me. But I think they have a hard job. Like if you think about, because they need to figure out a lot of hypotheses to try and a lot of directions to go, and there is like so much time that you can actually invest and figure out all of that, right? And I think there is a lot of bias and there is a lot of push from stakeholders and customers who pays more money and customer who pays less money. And I guess, I think overall it is a hard job, but I would go back to the point that you mentioned in the beginning. The developers are not doing their job right with simple things. I think the product owners are not doing their job right with simple things, without even talking about all these complicated things. They're not even getting the basic right.
Yeah, true.
And you guys need to get your shit together.
Everybody needs to get this shit together, but we cannot expect people to just magically become product owner if you look at their training portfolio, for instance, in the Scrum guide is one paragraph like, you should manage stakeholders and a backlog. I don't give a damn about the backlog. If you can draw stuff like if a product owner could draw his desires, make a like a wireframe, or I don't know, that would be perfect for me, because we have a meaningful discussion about something that is real instead of typing it in a system. I really don't care about that system.
So product owners should go to art school then and really learn to draw.
Yeah, because it has to have the. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, and
it's a really highly creative thing.
Yeah, and I also think that because I've been reading this book about making the best product possible by Miss Torres, I think her name was, right? Torres. Yeah, Teresa Torres. And she also advocates like talking to your customers like on a monthly basis, basically, and making drawings out of that, like, several drawings, not just one summarizing the talk, but also mapping out the opportunity space, mapping out, how you think the customers experience your product, like just keep drawing. Because it's easier to visualize it than to read it in text. Would you also? You basically just said, right, that it's also your preferred way of visualizing things, making drawings.
So you guys asked me like, what do we do different? Like for instance, at Simply Deliver, where changes can be applied really quickly. But the first thing we did is like we have for each component we have a product vision. And then for each epic, we have an epic goal, which states which problem we are trying to solve for who, for which persona. And then we state also like what is the desired outcome. Hard sometimes, right? It's really hard. This is something that's really hard sometimes. If it's not usage, it's sometimes really hard. But we do it anyway. Then we have to create. Well, sometimes some functionality is just that sometimes you also make stuff. That is really hard to measure, or
do you have an example?
Even no. I have to think about it. I can look into some examples later. I guess sometimes I have a really hard time finding out this desired end result.
But do you also have like a sales team, salespeople?
Yeah.
No. So how do they push on your priorities? Do they push on your priorities or not?
Yeah, strongly. This is like there's not this really big if a customer needs something, we have to start creating this thing and make it a generic feature. So this is also the nice trade-off continuously. Like we don't want to make a custom software.
Are they selling stuff that you guys don't have yet?
Of course. Yeah.
Oh my god.
All the time.
How do you feel about that? It's good that you're making sales, I guess.
Yeah, but this is like if there's a demand for some functionality, apparently the market, you have to validate it a bit more because you're not going to make a one-off for one customer. This is the big challenge. Prevent making custom features.
So, but in the
you
end,
only have 1280 features. No. No feature toggles. But this is I love it, man. I love it's the opposite of the enterprises, like where money is no, it's the money is there. They print the money, for instance. But here is, it's a different, it's just crazy. Did you guys ever create a feature and then somebody say, yeah, no, we don't want it anymore. Just shelf it.
Several times.
Have
Yeah,
you
a
guys
lot.
felt
But
the pain of shelving stuff? Yeah, that's not going to happen with the startup, man. The shelving is then we did something really wrong, and it's
what
going to
do you
affect
do
all
if,
of us.
what if you do if sales wants a functionality but it doesn't fit your vision or doesn't fit your vision of the product? Can you push them back or not?
Like this is going to even out a bit. Like we're growing, right? So it's a SaaS solution. So the bigger it gets, the heavier this discussion will be, because now the most input is really valuable because it's the customers we working with.
Yep.
So often if they have a demand, then that is something we think should fit in the SaaS. And if it really doesn't fit, maybe it should be another project or some product or something.
But do they bring like a demand or functionality solution, or are they actually bringing the problem? Like, okay, my customer faces
Well, this
why?
yeah, a problem.
Okay.
Often, or we have to become better, but we have to become better as an industry and going to the root cause or the question behind the question.
There's one story I liked. Is that the really hard part of being a product owner, product manager, or whatever, is that actually defining what a priority is if you also have sales, because you hire the sales guys to be really persistent to your customers, but they also point that same quality inwards.
Yeah.
So your product, if you're a product owner, if you're salespeople, you're probably gonna be butchered quite a lot on the guys. Like, okay, we need this, we need this. So I do have some sort of respect for product owners. Like, managing the stakeholders, I think the salespeople are probably the worst.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, it is better than it was 5 years ago in general.
So you fired half of your team.
I remember. No, I am not here. I'm here only not for that amount of time. No, but like let's say 5 or 8 years ago, this was a big struggle, man. But people, also salespeople, know more about the agile way of working. But it was sometimes it was. I once went to a company and they also had a SaaS solution, and I asked, okay, so where is the solution? They said, no, it's 28 instances. Because of sales, like every feature was. This is something we have to.
So
we have to come
really
back from still.
Customer.
Every customer has a specific. This is this is the night. This is the thing we will prevent, and because we all have no.
I heard this story recently of that they had a system and the users could not log in sometimes because of a bug and they could not fix it, and then the users would be out for like 10 days until the product owner would actually prioritize the developers to fix that bug so that person could have log in, and it was happening all the time. And one of the developers was talking to me like, I don't understand, if a customer cannot log in and they are paying money to use our platform, how is that not a priority? And I think that's the part of, I also do not understand, like how if you are a product owner and you are there to serve your customers, somebody cannot use your product, how is that not a priority? Like the person can actually...
No, it's the worst case. It's the worst possible case.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is like...
Maybe there's something else.
Let's think about it, man. Well, then you are really deep into it, man. If this is not your biggest problem, people cannot log in. Well, the problem behind it is that everybody can see everybody's credentials and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
And I couldn't. Yeah. Then I would remain like it. Yeah. I sometimes I'm thinking about all this stuff like ETIL and I had discussions with people once, like you are a product owner, right? And you have a live program. It's for customers. Customers pay you for it. What is the response time? What is the SLA? What is this? And they say, we don't know. We don't care. But this is a thing in the DevOps community that is quite strange, right? Because the team is now responsible for development and operations, but we don't know what is agreed upon. Like,
Yeah.
do we need
Yeah.
to respond in 1 hour, or don't we have to what? Yeah, I imagine some fines there. So,
No, but like you can respond in 1 hour, but you can fix in 10 days. That's also fine.
yeah, yeah, but depends on the document.
Yeah.
So you need to have the document.
Yeah, but that's true. I
Yeah,
think there's also like we are trying to, let's say, merge business and IT to fix that part of product, but there is still this part of sales and selling what has to be agreed on the vision, and the team has to own that. So I think there is like
A lot of steps.
a lot of steps we still need to take to evolve as a successful delivery.
Yeah.
Companies, I think.
Yeah, of course. We will never be ready, finished.
Because we're always making, like, moving towards the newest technology, right? So never
Of
ready.
course. And if we're almost there, we will do something.
Yeah.
Then somebody will come up with a new thing. Like, we need to do something with blockchain. Do you guys do something with blockchain? Because you should.
No. Well, we're putting
No,
this
well-
podcast from today on a blockchain,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
It's going to be an NFT that's going to sell for a lot of money.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like,
But also data lakes.
why not? So like,
Yeah,
what would
I
be
say the
like,
same, and low code. Yeah.
what be like your guys' tips about like because you guys didn't share what was your best product owner experience, but like, what would you say for any product owner that is listening now? Please do not do this or do that. All of you.
Okay. For me, it's don't push down a solution without knowing why you want it, and without maybe even explaining the problem. Well, just bring the problem down and why you need it solved.
So
I
never
think
bring a solution.
Never bring a solution.
100% of the time, never bring a solution.
You ask a tip, right? It could be a bit black and white.
Okay.
No.
So even if you have a solution, I think you should still bring the problem, because a solution is usually debatable.
Yeah, and for me, it would paint the whole picture. A lot of times, I see a product owner trying to, break it down for development in small chunks, so that you're only seeing like little specks of the whole spectrum. So yeah, I would like to see the whole picture. Like, where are we and where we're moving to, and how are these stories going to help us get there?
Strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Niels, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I would also say give the objectives, man. Give
Yeah.
what do we need to achieve, and then we have so many smart people and creative people, and we can solve it. But like, this is why I said this story doesn't. I don't care about this story, but it's so focused. Like,
Yeah.
this user story is this most important thing. But
Yeah. In the end,
Just
you not
the-
talk to the customer, I would say. Like,
And do you guys like from your perspective, for instance, because we talk a lot about products, but people who are not IT educated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is really also really hard, because sometimes people come with a problem to a team, and it will result in a discussion of 2 hours.
Or
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, but I often tell people who are not IT, I say, if you have a question, if you want something to be solved, if the talk is going on more than 5 or 10 minutes, something is wrong. Something prevents us in fixing stuff. Some architecture thing, I don't know. But often, if we talk, the more we talk, like, the less we understand what people are saying. What is your experience with that?
and do you mean developers? Like, they talk too long?
Yeah, especially developer teams. So the whole discussion for the non-IT people is like, I don't know what they're saying. It could be Greek, or there's so many words I don't know.
So I do have an idea about that, or an opinion anyways. I think the developers are held accountable on the wrong things, like on output, for example. So they really push, like, okay, you should push these features within these 2 weeks, for example. I think that's stuff that really happens. So everything you do, you are being accountable for. So let's say they bring something to the table, the discussion goes 2 hours because they just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
They just don't want to do it because they don't get the trust. They don't get, and they have to commit on something. They have no idea what the impact is. So you go in a cycle where they just avoid the responsibility.
Yeah.
And from their perspective, I don't blame them.
But don't you feel that a lot of the times a product owner comes with a problem and then the discussion instantly becomes technical? Like, oh, we can solve that with, we need to set up a Kafka cluster and then we can, and to me...
This is the thing. Exactly.
Because, I'm a software engineer as well, in my heart. But even that, cheers. But even that, that shouldn't be the first thing you jump on. Like, okay, how can we apply this technicality to this problem?
Yeah, but that's resume building for yourself, to be honest. You want to have that resume because in long term, because in the end you go to a different company who will actually list all those features, because that's the most important thing in the job market right now. So it makes sense to go technical. Yeah, but then from a developer perspective anyways. Why would you want to solve the problem if you are being punished by it?
But then the developer doesn't care about the product.
He doesn't, because why would he? He doesn't have an objective.
But then they're at the wrong company, maybe.
Or they are aligned wrongly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's just my...
But again, it's not specifically for a product owner. Anyone who goes to an IT person and say, can you explain me if it's possible to do this and that? And then the discussion will appear of way too long.
No, I think it's
without
to do, right? Because it's like there is also the other side, right? Like they say you can just put a button, right? And this button is gonna do an AI super crazy thing. It's just a button. How hard can it be? So I think it is a lack of empathy on both sides.
Yeah.
I think developers, they feel like sometimes, because I felt that way, and I'm also have a software engineer, right? So it's like they come and they kind of talk you down, like, come on, man, you're just a developer, right? It's just a button. How hard can it be? And then you go and you put a smart hat as, and you just try to prove how hard it is. And the other side, we just think sometimes, I'm saying we, but we think the developer business is also a bit dumb. Like, come on, man, just think a little bit for yourself and you can understand how this works. So I think there is a little bit of lack of empathy on both sides. I think that's more it. And it goes back to what you said. There is not a clear objective that they are both going for.
Yeah. They don't consider themselves a team.
No,
I guess.
Not at all. It's like they're working for different things, but they are basically working for the same goal, but they just make the system so badly designed that they are working for different directions.
Reasons.
Yeah, I remember this development manager at a large online retailer. He also said well, how hard can it be? Like, worst case, you just put a big if statement at the top of the code and just branch into a complete new...
No, I am not talking about this because, this is like I used to program myself and then they mentioned some that they I had once had a guy, he was the director of the company and there was a Ruby on Rails team and he started explaining to the Rails team like how many lines of code they produced, and the guys were like, well, this is the opposite of what we do, man. It was like, this is not a measurement we like.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I haven't seen this thing like this talking down. I have seen really people really have the want to improve this company, coming to IT teams, asking a simple question, have a discussion of 2 hours about everything you can explain, everything, and often there is something wrong, and I think often there's also technically something wrong.
Yeah.
Wow. So
because if we are not able to
it's also nice to just talk about techniques.
Yeah.
It's also the hobby for most of those guys, right? So
but this person comes genuinely with a question. Well, this is how we maintain the gap.
Yeah, it keeps the jobs rolling and everyone gets paid, and the cycle continues.
Yeah.
So I guess the main takeaway from this conversation is that, make clear objectives, be a part of the team, do some mob programming maybe, and
set up a vision.
Exactly.
But I know, guys, but now we have all instructions for the other side. What can we do ourselves? Because we have been saying that they should do a lot of stuff. This is why I asked the question, we have the tendency not to give this clear answer, if for non-IT people.
So I think what they should do is try to make themselves part of the team. I think we should help making them part of the team, explain that we are one and we are working towards the same goal. And there is no wrong answers. I think we are all learning together and trying to figure out what is the best product we can build. And I think the only thing we all should be able to do is at least, try to work as a team and not thinking that like, oh, if this fails, it's the product owner's fault. If it fails, it's everybody's fault, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody falls with it, and if everybody wins, everybody should win. So I think they should try to look at it from, this is a team and we are all in the same boat, and let's make the best out of it. I think that's what we should help people with.
Or at least change the environment to be together in the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Would be nice.
And you, Niels, do you have a final tip on the matter? On how to really
wish we would-
align?
I wish we, and I'm with we, I mean really IT people, we would have more empathy also to the other side instead of struggling, prevent the struggle and start doing this magnificent way of working that the Uber does.
Yep.
And nobody in the business gives a shit about it because
Yeah. All right. Well, on that lovely note, I think I think that wraps it up for us today here, roasting some marshmallows with Niels. Thanks a lot for being here.
yeah, thank you guys. Yeah.
I also want to thank Henrique and Arno for sitting here with me in this sweaty studio. Cheers, guys. This is the first time we actually recorded together like this. So how do you guys feel about that?
I'm pretty okay with it, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of like it.
Yeah, nice. So, and I also, of course, want to thank the listener for chiming in as usual. If you have any suggestions, please send us an email at podcast@4scouts.nl. Maybe contact us at Twitter at 4scouts. And of course, at our Anchor page, you can send us a voice message. We would love it if you would actually do that one time. Because we haven't had that many so
I will,
far.
right.
I would have been.
Yeah, nice. That would be cool.
Me too.
All right. Okay, Niels, thanks again. And see you guys later.
Right, no
Bye-bye.
problem.